Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Kayak Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Nation. Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Kayak Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Happy Monday to everyone. What's happening, Ryan? How you doing, man?
Fishing and competition, baby. That's what we're here for.
Competition every dang time.
Every time.
Hey, what a big weekend we had, man. Pickwick's in the books, the last BOS week or tournament of the year. You had a hell of a weekend. We're gonna get into that in a minute. You made a push at it. Caught you a big one, or a couple of good ones actually, both one each day, and made a run at that top 10. Got you a nice little check.
I try, man. I try. Fake it till you make it. That's what they say.
Yeah, we want to talk about that for sure. We can go over my sob story of a weekend as well.
I can't wait.
Had the TOC stare me in the face, and I don't know what you call it. Shit the bed, spit the bit.
All of it.
Had a meltdown. Hey, all of that.
We had three of the guys in the house were on the cut line for TOC. You, Tarek, and Dylan were all like just right there. Last move to make on the chessboard.
Yeah, Jesse,
son.
Wow. How about Jesse? He was in the house, and he put up a huge limit on day 2, man. He was on.
So a fun fact, Jesse Halverson, when I first really met Jesse, we walked into a questionable establishment in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I look near a stage of some sort, and I see a Yak Addicts t-shirt, and immediately I'm like, all right, that's my boy right there. I walk up, and we're at the national championship a couple years ago. Walk up, and it's Jesse Halverson, and we have quite an eclectic crew with us anyway. Jameson Redding and Shane, Corey Dreyer, and Josh Evans. We had a pretty wild bunch with us. But immediately, Jesse and I struck this kinship up. Well, Jesse started talking all this trash about Tennessee River smallmouth, and he's always pushing me, trying to get me to hand over the keys to my little Gunnersville smallmouth spot in the springtime. That's motivated Jesse to find his own little deal down on Pickwick, and he talked a lot of trash, saying that he had found it, and I didn't believe him at all. At all, not a little bit. Day 1, he completely missed. I mean, just whiffed. Didn't even touch the ball. Day 2, he starts sending pictures to our group chat of freaking Magnum smallmouth, and I'm like, what in the hell is happening? Then we show up to get checks, and Jesse's there. Jesse was the Dakota Lithium power move because he smashed him. Hat is off to Jesse Halverson. You mashed him up, man. Good job.
He did, and that's the first time I got to meet and hang out with Jesse a little bit.
He's wild, son.
He's
100%
dude,
wild.
We traded some message after the fact. I told him congrats. I said, dude, I'm going to need a lesson on these river systems because Dardanelle and Pickwick kicked my ass, both those, and he actually gave me a few little tips for the next time through, and we'll see what happens. But
and Jesse will tell you a lot of when you're fishing river systems, a lot of it is current dependent. Without the current, those fish, they're not in feed mode. It's like flipping a light switch. When you turn the current on, those fish are ready to feed. If they're not ready to feed, you have to kind of figure out where they're holding and really almost hit them in the head with something to activate, them to bite anything.
Yeah. We got a big show tonight. I know we got Guillermo Gonzalez, of course, one of the best in the country everywhere he goes, but he's the winner of this tournament. We're glad to see it. He put on a show for 2 days. He'll be on here in just a little bit. They're on the road driving. Brian in the comments, he says he don't know crap about river systems, but somehow he does well. You sure do. Big Stick. That's why you got the name, buddy.
Boy.
Yeah, so we got Guillermo on. We got some announcements to make. We want to do a little like and share contest tonight. We've got some simple stuff. If anyone wants some free KBN decals for their boats, trucks, or whatever, I got like 6 of them here at least we can give away. So
okay,
like and share the stream. That's all you got to do. Like and share the stream on Facebook, and there's the rules in the deal. Just like, share, and subscribe to us on YouTube, and we will hook you up with some decals. Just send me your address. We'll announce the winners at the end of the show for that. But yeah, I don't know what we want to get into first while we're waiting on G to get on. You want to go over your day, man? You want me to go over my sob story first?
You go over yours. I feel like
All
it's
right.
more eventful.
There's not really much to it other than I got to Pickwick early Thursday. Did a little pre-fishing. We talked on the phone. I caught 1 keeper on Thursday, 1 on Friday. Both were barely keepers, and then I caught some dinks. I was confused, really didn't know what to do. For the tournament Saturday, after the rain especially, I got a little information on where to maybe find some fish Saturday, and I think there were fish there because the ramp I launched at had everybody and their brother that knows how to catch them was launching at that location. I ran into Brian out there on the water. But long story short, I caught 1 keeper pretty early, and that was it. And by noon, I checked the leaderboard, went into total meltdown mode, was lost as a goose. I think it's a video game term and a shooting term. I was just out there spraying and praying. No plan, no direction, just spraying and praying all over the place, and just, loaded up my stuff, was contemplating life, thought about taking up disc golf or bowling or something.
I remember in the group chat, you actually asked Chase Tanner about disc golf.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I'll make the switch. I don't know. I got a pretty good eye for things, but, anyway, got my mind right, and now I'm ready to take punishment, even though I've let go of my TOC dreams for this year. I'm going to just miss the cut. But it was still a great time there. I enjoyed hanging out with some folks at the house. Got to meet some guys that I hadn't really met in person before, like Jesse. Got to know Tarek a little better and had fun over there with you guys. But, yeah, 21's in the books.
Does it make you want the next TOC more?
Yes.
All right, then. I think that's the goal. And that's a real important point. If TOC is not your goal when you start the year, reevaluate your goals. Like, that is the absolute pinnacle of what we're trying to do here. At awards, the people in that room, most of them are previous TOC qualifiers, but hearing our guest tonight, Guillermo, talk about how big of a bucket, and Guillermo's won about every damn thing there is to win, honestly. Like, if you Google things to win, especially in Texas, he's won all of them. So for him to say that was kind of a bucket list tournament to check off, winning the BOS series event is huge, and that is an immediate qualification to the TOC. And that, I think a lot of people work for it every year. As we said, we had 2 or 3 guys on the cut line in our house, but that's what we are all chasing. We're all moving toward that big final goal of seeing everybody in that top 50 at the TOC.
That's right. And I don't know, I know Tarek was right there with me on the cut line. He had I think he finished 30th or something. I don't know if that helped him or not. I'm hoping he can maybe squeak in. I know Vinny came there from Queen City. He might squeak in at the very end. So, even though I had a horrible event and had a little mental meltdown, it was still cool to see a lot of people that I respect, a lot of friends like you, Ryan. Guillermo's a friend of mine, and the other guys that I know in the tournament do well. It's always good to see your buddies doing well, even if you suck it up. So that was fun to see. Tell us about your day, man, because I know you found some stuff practicing, and you and Shane kind of got on the same water and hammered them for a couple of days.
So there's not any secret in the world. I absolutely hate fishing with people. I hate it. No offense to any of my friends, but I don't like fishing with a person. Shane and I fished tournaments together about 3 times out of the 6 years we've known each other. One of which was the national championship on Kentucky Lake, where day 1 I did well, day 2 Shane spanked my ass. The other one was the TOC, where I obviously did okay in that one. But we were sitting there on day 2 of this event, we went and pre-fished. I posted a video of me towing Shane. The island that we fished in pre-fishing was like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 miles from the ramp. So I was like, hey man, I'll tow you, whatever. It'll be funny, blah, blah, blah. So we get up there. Shane catches like a 20.5. I want to say like his first or second cast. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. So I catch like a 17.5, 18 myself, and we marked. I was like, let's quit fishing. Let's mark some fish, figure out what we're doing. We figured out there were enough fish holding there. Fished it on day 1. I went up and found
kind of froze there, Ryan. Uh-oh. We lost lunch money. There he is. You're back. We lost you for a second.
Where'd I go?
I don't know.
What do you got?
You're back now. You're good.
Okay.
We
okay.
froze for a minute. But anyway, continue.
I'm back.
You went up and you found.
I went up and I found.
Yeah.
I found a little grass line on the upriver end of this point, and I caught some fish scattered. It was scattered grass on this flat, and busted a couple. And I needed a kicker fish, but there were bass boats coming in on me. I mean, I don't mean coming in like I could see them, like, I could read what was on their boat. I mean, like, if I caught a fish, they would come off plane and just beeline straight in on him. It was frustrating. And I don't like fishing main lake spots anyway because of stuff like that. But anyway, I'm having to deal with it. So this guy and his wife come in. She's smoking Marlboro Reds off the back of the boat. He's casting in on my shit, and I'm kind of mad. And I throw like right up on the bank. I mean, like 1.5 foot of water. And you know when that big fish bites, you just feel that just instant. I mean, they're in the boat, and I'm like, holding it up, like, is this what you wanted to see? Like, ha, that's what you get. So he pulls his trolling motor up and leaves. I call Shane. I'm like, hey dog, like come take some pics for me. He's like, what'd you do? And I was like, it's a good one right here. Like this may be big bass of the tournament, because I thought that was my only lucky charm. As of the past 8 months, is all I can do is catch big bass. It was not big bass of the tournament, as I learned later on. But anyhow, that solidified day 1. Day 2, we went back to the same island. We went to the south end point, and Shane busts off 3 big smallmouth on 3 consecutive casts. And I caught like an 18-inch largemouth and couldn't really do anything past that. And I'm sitting watching Shane. He's throwing a spinnerbait. He's throwing a small spinnerbait with 3 willow blades. It imitates a little bait ball. And I had like all my river spinnerbaits. I didn't bring anything under like 3/4 of an ounce because I planned on river fishing. I couldn't find the smallie bite I wanted. So I'm watching Shane stroke these fish, and I can't get bit at all. Like, not even remotely. They wouldn't even look at it. And that hurts my heart. Well, Shane's over here like in front of me throwing back 17-inch fish. Throwing them back. I have a 14 and a 12.5 on my stringer. I'm well within striking distance of the top 3, and Shane's throwing back 17s. And I'm like, what do you do? Like, I can't leave and run to the tackle shop and buy a bait. So I just kept doing the same stupid thing I've been doing all day. I'm dragging a freaking Texas rig, big TRD in yoga pants, and I'll post a picture of it at some point. That's what I caught all my fish on in 2 days. And was it painful? Yes. Was it slow? Definitely. Did it catch big fish? That's a fact. So, while fast is cool, consistency over 2 days is what will actually cash you a check. So I hated not being able to catch fish as fast and the way that Shane was doing. But, overall, in the last 10 minutes, I was dragging the same grass line I had caught a drum and a catfish off of earlier, and ended up bagging, that 20 1/4 for like an 8-inch upgrade in the last 5 minutes or so.
Good stuff, man. It's awesome to see.
It was nuts.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. G has slid into the waiting room, so we don't make him wait long, because I know he's on the road. We're going to get him in here right after this break. And we've got some big announcements for y'all, too. Do you want to get into that before the break, after the break, later on?
After the break. Let's do it.
After the break. All right, so let's take a break. We'll get Guillermo in here, and we'll get to talking to the big winner from this weekend. Everybody hang on just a minute. We will be right back. Welcome to the KBN Live is brought to you by Western Sun Vodka. Western Sun Vodka is a 10 times distilled, award-winning, gluten-free vodka. They are independently owned and crafted in Pilot Point, Texas.
Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
All right, what's up? We're back. Guillermo, thank you, sir, for waiting patiently and for taking the time to do this, man. I know you wore out. You've been on the road all day. Congratulations on the win, man. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, always, man. One of our favorite guests to have on. One of the nicest dudes in kayak fishing, a friend of mine, friend of Ryan's, so always glad to chat with you anyway, but especially after a birthday weekend win. How about that?
Yeah, right? Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's that elk on the wall behind you there, G?
That's actually a stag.
Is it?
Yep.
right.
And I wish I could claim it, but it's my father's.
Okay, all right. Let you borrow one.
Yeah, he let me borrow one.
I'm heading to Idaho in like a week and a half for some elk, so that's pretty much all I see right now.
That's awesome. That's
Nothing
so
but-
cool. I hope you
nothing but
get one,
horns.
man.
Well, I hate to cheat, but I'm definitely going to this year. I'm taking a bow and a 7 mag. There's an elk coming home with me this year, I promise.
Sounds delicious.
It will be. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. So tell us, I mean, obviously Jeff and I have told our stories of lack of success. How'd you put this puzzle together? Because you absolutely stroked the fish on Pickwick.
Oh, well, that's a good question. I went into Pickwick, and I remember telling a lot of people this, knowing absolutely nothing about it. The only things that I really knew, I had heard from friends like Christine and from Cody, and so I had that kind of basic knowledge. But aside from that, I didn't have too much else. And I had heard so many things about these giant smallmouth living up by the tail race or up in the river section, and how big of a sack you could catch if you could figure those things out. And I heard about some of the grass and some of the few areas that seem to have it, and I heard how pounded some of those areas were getting. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit intimidating because it kind of sounded like the entire field, including me, we're probably going to be jammed up in those areas. So I, at that point, kind of made a decision for myself. And honestly, out of pure, Ryan, I heard you mention you don't like fishing with people. And
I hate it.
I'm not saying I don't like fishing with people, but I certainly would rather not fish tournaments with people or with people all over me. And so I kind of made a decision to focus on some more off the wall water. And I spent almost all of my time on the lower lake, closer to the Pickwick Dam. And while I was down there, I didn't have a ton of practice. I took as many spots as I could, and I didn't get to spend too much time in any spot. But I found a couple areas that looked promising to me. And one of the things that I kind of immediately realized was that the bite wasn't really easy, and I wasn't going to be able to fish quite my style. I really like to fish fast. I really like to power fish. I really like to throw top waters. And if I'm going to be quite frank, that just was not working for me in practice. Every now and then, I'd catch like a 13 or 14 incher, but those aren't going to do anything for you. And so in the particular spot that I ended up fishing the tournament, I had been there already for like 3 hours with a couple of other guys, and none of us were really catching anything. And after talking to them, I decided, you know what, I really like this stuff. And for some reason, I don't know why I feel like I could make it work. And I did get a couple of big swirls on top. So I was like, I know there's some big fish here. Maybe if I stick it out, I can figure out how to catch them. And at that point, I started throwing a Senko, which is one of my least favorite things to do all time.
Ooh.
But man, I'll throw a dang Senko if I'm getting bit every 3 casts.
It's a long day. That's a long day.
They were eating the crap out of it. I mean, I think within 10 minutes on that practice day, I had like 4 or 5 bites throwing the Senko, and I was like, that's kind of neat. And so, like I said, I can throw it if I'm getting bit, and so that's kind of what I decided to do. And I found a couple of places. I found a couple of other places where I could kind of make it work, but not quite like at this spot. And if I'm going to be quite frank, I didn't know how good this spot was until tournament day because I had barely fished it. I made myself kind of leave it. And turns out the spot was awesome. And by some miracle of God, I had it to myself the entire tournament. I did not have a boat, a kayak. I had some kayaks fish near me, and at one point I had a couple kayaks come in and fish some of my stuff, and by some miracle, they didn't catch anything out of my stuff. I don't know how, but they didn't. So I got really lucky in that regard. On tournament day, I just kind of figured out, holy crap, this spot has a ton of fish, and I made it a point to kind of pre-fish it on tournament day and really break it down and try to figure out where the fish were scraped up. And I found a couple of hot spots that, I pull the fish on every cast in some cases for like 10 or 12 casts.
So you said Senko. You wacky rigging it? Nico, Texas rig, weightless? You give the juice on that? Just Texas rig.
Grass. And I was rigging it with a 16th ounce Senko. With a 16th ounce tungsten, just so I could fish it a little faster.
That's actually very similar to what I was doing. I used a Texas rig, big TRD. I like using those, or like the Fatty Z. It's similar shape. It's got a little fatter tail on it. I like rigging those Texas rig. I don't peg the weight on my Texas rig, and the elastic, I'll let it drift up and then pop it back down. It looks like a bait fish, shooting back down into that grass. That's one of my favorite slow fishing, techniques when it's grass fishing for sure.
Well, that I could see that big TRD having worked just fine. I mean, it's crazy. Once I got into some of these spots, these fish, I was fishing in probably an average of about 2.5 feet of water. And these fish acted like ledge fish. Like once you caught one, you would catch another one and then another one. And then once you caught 3, you could throw any bait in your entire boat and they would eat it because they were just fired up. And so actually on day 1, I made a few culls stroking a half-ounce jig, a half-ounce black and blue jig. And that helped me kind of get over the top on day 1.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You kind of already explained. Yeah, I mean the gaudy numbers you were putting up, because if you look at Tourney X, day 1, let me throw it back up on the screen. You had 5 plus 9, so you had 9 culls throughout the day, or 9 other submissions, and then on day 2, I think it was something similar, plus 12. I mean, what the heck, G? How many? I mean, obviously that's 17 fish right there. How many fish do you think you caught between the 2 days?
If I had to guess, between 80 and 100.
Oh my God.
The camera boat when he came by on day 2 said I caught, I think, 5 fish in front of him. He's like, "You're the only guy I've seen catch anything all day," and I was honestly kind of shocked. But it felt good, to some degree. I feel almost lucky. It was definitely a great decision to decide to slow down. I know a lot of people out there, a lot of people caught fish, caught them good, power fishing. A few guys did, and I applaud those guys. And I tried to make it work, but I just couldn't. But that decision to slow down, I mean, it really was the key, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have gotten those bites, and I would have completely written that area off. I was about to write it completely off, and that last minute decision to slow down just completely changed my week.
I think that's a good lesson for people to take with them. You know, when fish are aggressive and they're feeding, and we talked about current earlier and Jesse's smallmouth bite that he got on, but when fish aren't aggressively feeding, it's not like the fish leave. Like they don't pack up and go to some other part of the lake. Those fish are still there. You may just have to slow down and drag something in front of their face to get them to bite. You know, they're not always in an active feeding mode.
No, and I think honestly a big part of it was pressure, because it seemed like first thing in the morning. I know a lot of people notice this all over the lake, and I don't believe that it was quite a shad spawn, but the shad were insanely active first thing in the morning, and the bass were definitely pounding them. I mean, it was pretty nuts, and you know, typically, I mean, I know on a lot of lakes down here in Texas, whenever you see that, you can pretty much count on catching them on a spinner bait or a buzz bait or a spook or whatever it may be. And for whatever reason, and I guess it's the pressure on Pickwick, that wasn't the case. But I guess slowing down for some reason made a difference. I couldn't tell you why they would eat the Senko and not a spinnerbait when they seemed to be feeding so aggressively, but it just seemed to be what worked for me.
Like I said, I threw a bigger spinnerbait, and it was embarrassing how Shane caught him on that tiny little baby rooster tail ass spinnerbait. Like it was, it was awful. Shane was throwing it on a bait caster, and the spinnerbait was so light he could cast it like 20 feet in front of his boat and would catch a fish every single cast. But it's because they were keying on those tiny little shad. And I hate to give Shane too much credit, but we went out on Chickamauga like two or 3 years ago with a bunch of different guys, and it was the same time of year, September, in the slump, and all those bass were keying on these just tiny shad, and Shane started throwing a little bitty fluke, and he, I mean, again, it was like flipping a switch, just started catching them, and I think that's what makes the difference. When those fish are keying on such small bait, you have to downsize as far as you can, or slow down to where it's just something they can't ignore. Those fish are there. They're around the bait. I mean, that's how they survive. They have to be there on the bait. But, you know, figuring out the puzzle on what's going to make them trigger is the key to getting it done.
You know,
you guys think that
after listening to you talk, Lambert, you know, the thing I just can't get past, man, is I should have gone and bought a beetle spin and thrown it.
That's what it looked like he was throwing, dude. I'm like, what is that? Like, how? It killed me. And I was like, do you have another one? I was like, I'll give you $500 right now. You got another spinnerbait. What is it? Let's go.
do you guys think that when it's like that, if you don't have the bait to exactly match the hatch, that maybe something like the Senko, because it looks different and stands out, is why you're getting bit on that?
I'll tell you what, to me, it was a phenomenon that I really couldn't explain. The profile, something about that triggered them to eat. Like I said, once, you know, the fish seemed to be grouped up in the grass. I would go a while without a bite, and then I'd get into a group. And once I caught 1, 2, or 3, then it seemed like they got dumb, and I could throw almost anything. But to get to initially find them, it seemed like it took the Senko. But one of the crazier things about it was I had so many black and blues, and I don't know if y'all noticed or went to any of the tackle stores. They were pretty pick clean, and you know that's understandable in most of the country right now. So just about all the colors they had left were some of the dumbest Senko colors I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know if it was the profile, but it didn't matter. I still bought them because I needed Senkos, and they still ate the crap out of them, and it was pretty awesome. It was a bunch of fun.
I'll tell you from pre-fishing, especially until day 2 of the tournament, you know, we got a ton of rain. I mean, torrential downpours, roads washed out, trees falling. It was crazy. The water dirtied up quite a bit where we were. And I had to switch. I was throwing the deal initially in pre-fishing is what I was catching them on because the water was fairly clear. But as the water dirtied up, I had to switch. I switched to yoga pants. and that darker color got 5 or 6 times, more bites. I think the darker colors, and Matthew Scotch touched on this in his speech at the award ceremony. He was catching them on a black fluke. A black fluke. How many people are throwing that? Not many. Why? I don't know. But I think it had to do with something about that rain and the watercolor shifting, but those fish really seem to key a lot on darker colors.
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to go, after hearing Scotch talk, I'm not going to go to Pickwick without black flukes ever again.
Dude, that was nuts. I commented this on somebody's post earlier, but AJ's dog sniffing and scratching at that guy's shoes, and then also sniffing at Matt's crotch. I have to wonder if there was some sort of common thread there.
Who knows?
Did he have some scent in his pocket? Or
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what that guy stepped in. I don't know what the relation was. There was definitely a connection.
I'll tell you what, though, Scotch is one of the most calculated anglers that I know. I really respect him for that reason. And he mentioned in his recap that he didn't catch those fish, and he whacked them in this tournament. He finished third, and on day one, he didn't have any of his fish till the last hour. And I just wanted to bring that up. And applaud that, because I know a lot of guys would have checked themselves out, and I think that's pretty dang cool.
Here,
he was in the area, but like Jeff said, he was in an area that was super popular. Not only were there a lot of kayak anglers there, but there were a ton of bass boats there. And I think sticking with that, and as you see the day roll on, the bass boat guys kind of lose interest and they start running around, just trying to cover more water, so they pull off those hot spots. I think all that kind of factors into the activity of the fish. Like, the fish know when there's 20 bass boats around. You can't, if you're in the water, you can't not hear 20 trolling motors running around. I mean, I think persistence and sticking with what you know, having confidence that there are fish there, I think that is a big motivator into why people like Matt Scotch find success so frequently.
Yep. And, Ryan, you would appreciate this. I mean, animals are nuts in the way they just kind of learn things. And fish that get fished for in tournaments that often, they get accustomed to just feeding later in the day, because they know that they're getting fished for in the morning. And you would appreciate this. I've actually got a duck hunting spot that I don't ever show up to until like 11 o'clock.
You're on that C spot. After they've been shot 2 other spots, they fly into yours.
Yeah, I will go hunt somewhere else in the morning, and I can count on, if I don't shoot anything there, I can go over to this other place, and all the birds are going to show up at like 11 or noon, and you can't hunt past 1. And by 11 and noon, there's nobody there anymore. First thing in the morning, there's 20 trucks over there. And
Love
those
it.
birds know that everybody leaves by about 9 or 10, and they show up, and I've had some incredible hunts afternoon. And it can be that way in fishing. It was certainly that way for Scotch. And I just thought that was cool. I thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah. It was impressive to me when I checked the leaderboard, and at one point it was like you, BDH, and Scott. Like, Texas was pretty much, running the show in the top 5 there. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? We're sitting out here on the Tennessee River. We let all these Texas boys come in and kick the door in. It's kind of embarrassing.
It's usually, hey, let's talk about this for a minute. I mean, you won the tournament. You just talked about Matt being in third. Christine came in second. She smashed him on day 1, had a good day 2 as well. So what was it like for all 3 of y'all to share the stage, 1, 2, 3 like that, all being so close and tight friends and that relationship there?
So that was pretty dang cool. I can't even explain how cool that was to me, But let me tell you what's funny about all of that. We were all in 3 polar, completely different parts of the lake. I think I was about 20 miles from Scotch and 40 miles from Christine. And we were all doing totally different things. And that was so cool that to me that the three of us ended up finishing in the top three. And that, in my opinion, speaks volumes about the fishery that we were on. And really shows you just how, you know, how cool the Tennessee River can be, that you can literally be anywhere and make something happen and put up a good sack. I mean, the lake may have fished small, but there were certainly a lot of ways to catch them. And this weekend proved that. And for that reason, I can't wait to go back to Pickwick and experiment a little more.
I think that is one of the key selling points. People always, kind of harp on and bring up the fact that there are so many tournaments on the Tennessee River system. But the Tennessee River system is huge, number one, but it's all dam controlled. And in most fisheries, you have several miles of true river section that you can fish. But then on the lower ends, you have the more spread out backwater, shallow water fishing that you would expect. I think offering that variety is what continues to draw these tournament series back to the Tennessee River, because you can literally pick any way you want to catch them. Jordan Marshall, man, the story he told and the pictures he posted, like he was back in some stuff, man. Like he was in somebody's backyard ditch. It looked like that he slid off into. But you can find kind of whatever suits your style to catch fish. I know Christine was up in the river and she posted that magnum smallmouth on day one, but she had a solid mixed bag. It wasn't like she was purely smallmouth fishing. She had big largemouth as well. She put together a really good pattern, again, just on river fish that are current related. And I think that's one of my favorite things about the Tennessee Rivers. You kind of pick your poison.
No, for sure. And everybody had their little adjustment that they made that made their tournament. I know for me, I had to slow down, and thankfully I realized that in practice. I know that Christine was saying during the tournament that she realized that the fish, at least where she was at, they were so used to seeing these big baits, and she really downsized, and it made a huge difference for her. And then Scotch, sticking it out and deciding to go with the black fluke, something that I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't have ever thought of, and catching them. I think that too just speaks volumes about, a true tournament fisherman stays in the game no matter what, constantly tries to make adjustments to figure out. And a lot of times those adjustments don't mean moving spots. A lot of times those adjustments mean just reaching into your tackle box and getting a little creative.
I don't even know that I've ever seen a package of black flukes. It's amazing that he had those. You know what I mean?
Oh shit!
It's crazy that he even had those in his bag. Like he had that in there just in case.
I'm honestly kind of shocked too. I lived with, a lot of you may know this, I lived with Scott for about 5 years, and I don't think I ever even heard him mention throwing a fluke.
He was keeping that secret from you. He had the black flukes under his mattress.
His entire life, he was waiting for this moment to bust those out.
I got him on this one. So a fun story that came out of this, I actually drove down. I live about 3 hours from Pickwick. I drove down and got on the water to pre-fish, and I'm looking everywhere for my PFD, and I can't find it. And I'm like, you idiot. Like, I left it in my bass boat. And I'm like, that was so stupid. Well, I fold my seats down in my truck. I'm like, there's got to be something somewhere. And there is Sadiqi's NRS PFD that he left in my truck at Possum Kingdom. And I'm like, great, I'm going to wear Sadiqi's PFD this whole time. So I'm meeting Sadiqi to drop his PFD off after awards, and he's telling me about Scotch and the black fluke. Sadiqi took a Sharpie and broke it open and put it on his white fluke and began catching bass on his newly made black fluke, thanks to Scotch.
There you go. Christine Fisher confirming that story.
It was hilarious.
That's awesome. Adjust on the fly. That's what you got to do. There's a few questions I want to get back to. Let me see here. I lost one of them. Oh, Brian. He said, ask Guillermo about the fajitas. How about the fajitas? Is there a story there?
Evidently, they're pretty magical because just about everybody in our house cashed a check.
Okay.
But Brian's cashed several checks off your fajitas, correct?
Yes, including a win.
And then
What do you put inside them, would you say?
Lots of love and affection.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
I love that. How much love? No, never mind. That makes sense.
Jeff. That was Jeff. That was Jeff Malott, everyone.
Hey, Brandon Watson asked, anybody post up a slam? All 3 species in their limits. Anybody in the top 10 anyway? I know you caught a big spot, didn't you, Ryan?
I had a spot in my limit, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So there you go. Yes, somebody did.
There were some good spots in there. Somebody in our house was talking about catching some 18-inch spots pre-fishing. I think 16 or 17 is the biggest shaner I caught down there
I heard
on
about a
tourney
few
day.
big ones in practice.
I mean, those are not uncommon. Like everybody knows, I fish the tail race stuff quite a bit around the lock walls and whatnot. And I mean, I generally catch 18 and 19-inch spots every year down here. Those aren't rare by any. They're not the Coosa River spots, but I mean, they're big for spotted bass in the Tennessee River. So it's not shocking that those are down in Pickwick.
Now, I did hear that there's a lake that's connected. I think I heard Adam Reiser talking about it. There's a lake that's connected to Pickwick, and apparently that lake has Coosa spots in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wouldn't shock me if there was a little bit of hybridization going on in Pickwick.
That's the one that Yellow Creek connects, if I'm not mistaken, right? The lake in Mississippi or something?
Yeah. I remember him mentioning that it has some gigantic spots in it, and so maybe there's something going on there.
I wouldn't doubt that. Bay Springs. There you go, BDH. Good map study.
Taylor chimed in a minute ago, said Brian can only go if he stays with you from now on, G, I guess.
Woo!
Got to get the magic sauce.
All right, then.
Jeff Sherwood said he had a 17-inch spot in practice.
Yeah, it was Jeff. I knew it. See? I knew it was somebody in our house.
There's another story. I'm trying to find the picture of it, Ryan. How about that smallmouth Jesse caught at the house?
Gosh.
Behind the house.
We're sitting there after day one. Everybody's like taking showers, getting ready to go to dinner or whatever. And we're like, where's Jesse at? Like, come on, man. We're trying to go eat. We're starving to death. We get a picture in our like house group chat of Jesse holding this like 21.5-inch smallmouth. And I'm like, did he go to a dam? Like, where? I see the concrete. He's literally, so our house was above Florence on Wilson Lake. Jesse is showing Tarek how to throw a fluke. I mean, this is a great testament to, the little kayak fishing community. So Tarek's asking questions on how to throw a fluke, and Jesse's like, hey, man, come on down. I'll show you. And then catches a freaking giant smallmouth off our boathouse. I mean, insane.
Run-of-the-mill white fluke.
Insane.
Yeah, crazy story. It was cool to see. They kind of fired him up for day 2, I think. Went out there and smashed him.
Gosh, destroyed. He said he did that on a fluke, too. Apparently, Jesse is the fluke master.
Yeah. So I was fishing a big grass flat there in the middle of the river, and I was throwing a fluke, Ryan. And I saw some little dinks come up and look at it and then throw me the middle finger and not eat it in the grass. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. But.
Was it black?
No, it was just a white caffeine shed. They did not
throw a black fluke, please.
Yeah, I had a Sharpie. If I'd have known, I'd have busted that son of a gun open all over that.
That is nuts. I don't even believe that. I think Scotch told that story so everyone throws black Sharpies,
yeah,
black flukes from now on. Like he just played y'all.
He's like, I got them fools. They don't even know. Yeah. Any more questions for Guillermo before we wrap the night up here in a little while? I know we've got him for a while. Is Christine there with you or no? Or is she watching somewhere else?
Yeah.
Just got there? Okay. I mean, she's the runner-up. We were going to maybe throw her in and ask a question or two. But I know she had a big day 1 and hung in there for day 2 to get second. But let's see here. Getting some questions flying in. Sherwood said Tarek's in therapy. I don't know why. Is it something Sherwood did?
That's actually a very good question. There's no telling on that.
Yeah, Jesse's telling me ditch the caffeine shad, go with the actual fluke.
We'll
do, Jesse. Thank you. All right, Christine says, give G a spotlight. All right, you're the runner-up.
Okay.
Like you had a slouch of a deal.
Okay, fam.
Yeah, we just being nice and polite. We really didn't want to talk to you anyway, so thanks.
So what's it like, Guillermo, when you look at the leaderboard and you see Christine has just absolutely crushed them on day one. Are you like, I'm about to upset the turnip cart here, or you're like, good job, you can win this one? What was your thought process?
She's one of those people that, when she knows about a way that she can catch them, she's going to try to make that work. And dang near every time she does, which is the crazy thing. So I knew she was going to catch them at Pickwick. I mean, I absolutely knew it. She's won a tournament there before. She understands how those fish work, and she understands how to fish for pressured fish, and she understands how to fish around people. She's no stranger to fishing in pressured situations. She's great at it. And when I saw that she was smashing them, I was pretty stoked for her. But of course, I wasn't going to let her have it easy and push my rear end off on day two. And I knew she would too. And I ended up winning, but I'm so stoked that she was able to finish second. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Her and I have been incredible friends for a really long time, and I couldn't think of a better way for it to end. To have my arms around one of my around two people that I know and love so much. So it really meant a lot, and I'm so glad that it wound up that way. And I hope we get the opportunity to do it again sometime. And I hope that next time she beats me.
Yeah. Was there any behind the scenes trash talk?
Duh.
Okay, I like that. It wasn't all just hugs and kisses. There was a little trash talk going on, a little competitive fire. I like that.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Let's see. We got some congrats coming in for you. Oh, Jesse explained why Tarek's in therapy. I forgot about. So Tarek, who stayed with us, had that smallmouth that Jesse caught off the dock hooked the day before on a TRD or something and lost it. So then he watched Jesse catch it.
That's not the story.
No,
he threw out the TRD and a bluegill hit it. And Tarek is reeling up the bluegill, and this big smallmouth comes up and smashes it, and it shakes off. And Tarek just lets the bluegill float there in the water. The smallmouth comes up again and grabs it, and he just feeds it line, lets it get it down, and tries to get it up, and it finally came off as he was lifting it up out of the water.
Yeah, and then Jesse just rolls down casually, catches it on the fluke. So, yeah, there you go. I thought it was something Sherwood did because that was quite the deal as well, Jeff Sherwood. Quite the housemate, sir.
Live bluegill. That's the ticket. Next time I go to Pickwick, I'm fishing with live bluegill.
Get one of those gillies and throw it around. New things.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
There we go. Joey Randall, shout out to AJ for letting him borrow a drive. I guess he broke his drive or lost a drive.
Look at that, Joey.
Yeah, AJ. And I got to meet Boone at the check-in.
By the way, that was the funniest award ceremony that has happened yet. I don't know what was in the water, but there were shots being shot, little pokes being thrown. It was awesome. That was a great award ceremony. Great way to cap off the end of the season for sure.
AJ was straight savage at the awards.
It was hilarious. Not even just AJ. Everybody. I mean, everybody was having a great time. That was awesome.
We did have a great time.
That's cool. No doubt. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch because I was driving home with my tail between my legs at that time, so I wasn't.
Buddy, you missed out on that one. And I mean, if you look at that award ceremony, and it was, a lot of the folks that you're going to see at the TOC and probably on stage at the TOC. I mean, that was a stacked field and definitely stacked top 9 that ended up cutting checks there. It was hats off to all of you guys. I mean, obviously we're all friends. We've all seen each other quite a bit, but that was cool to have those people in that room and all of us kind of sharing that moment.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple more things for G before I let him get out of here. One, what's your history on Eufaula? How you feeling about the TOC?
Man, it's just like Pickwick. I know nothing about it. But I am very, very excited. Eufaula has always been on my list. To me, Eufaula is like Alabama's Lake Fork, so to speak. And maybe someone from Eufaula will say different, but at least from my perspective, it's kind of always been that way. So it's definitely been on my list of lakes to go fish, and I'm so excited that I get the opportunity to compete there. And I'm also really excited for, I think, this year's TOC. I think I could have sworn, and maybe I could have sworn it's going to be 3 days.
Yep, 3 days.
Yep, you're correct.
And that is going to be cool. It's going to be exhausting, but it's going to be cool. It's going to make it a unique challenge that we haven't really encountered aside from in national championships before. And I'm pretty excited to fish in a 3-day championship. I think that'll be really neat. I think different strategies will play as a result, and it'll be interesting to see how all the kayak anglers adapt.
Agreed, for sure.
And then the other thing I had was for both of y'all. BOS season's in the books. Bass wraps up this weekend. KBF's done. So specifically for BOS, for 22, what lakes would you like to see pop up on the schedule, and which ones would you like to see repeat?
This year BOS didn't go to Fork. I love going to Fork. But I'm not particularly upset about that because we went to Rayburn and I love Rayburn too. I think a lot of people after that bass event would love to see Possum Kingdom on any calendar again. I think a lot of people want another stab at that lake, and me, having it so close to home, would love to see that on the calendar. And I have a feeling one day down the line, the next few years, we probably will at one point or another. So I'm looking forward to that. I would love. Let me think if there's anywhere else. There's all kinds of places I would love to see them go. I would also love to go back. I think I saw someone put Broken Bow. I would love to go back to Broken Bow. I don't think we didn't. I've been there when that lake is on, and it's ridiculous. And I'm going to throw another one out that I would love that we. At this time of the year, I didn't enjoy this lake near as much as I feel like I would in the spring. But I really liked Ouachita, and I think
that's Ryan's favorite lake.
I think Ouachita at a different time of the year could be pretty dang cool.
I don't ever want to see Ouachita again. I hate to go against you there, G, but if I never had to try to pronounce that name again, I would actually be okay. That was a depressing trip. I will agree. Possum Kingdom showed out, absolutely. I don't know if it was because it was flood stage and all of Mark's fish were laid up on the ramp trying to get out of the water, but that was super fun. I think that one or somewhere in the area that fishes similar would be great. I don't know how you could take Susky off a schedule. Like, I think Susky, the area, the fishing, everybody, it's so competitive. Like, the top 20 were like 1 or 2 fish from it being a completely different dynamic. I don't know how you could change that up. I wouldn't mind seeing St. Clair or something like that thrown in there. I like seeing maybe St. Lawrence River if you want to open up some borders on that one. I wouldn't mind seeing that myself.
Yeah.
I saw someone mention Dardanelle. I actually really like that lake.
I like Dardanelle. I wish I would have done something different on day one, but I really did like Dardanelle and the way it's set up and the style of fishing.
Yeah, the one I keep pounding the drum for in Arkansas, if we could ever get one there, is Bull Shoals. Bull Shoals is best lake in Arkansas with me. I think everyone would have a great time there. It's got all 3 species. I've told AJ that before. So anyone from Arkansas that's watching, there's a few of you, back me up on Bull Shoals.
Hurry. Tell
I
him.
have fished Norfolk, which is Bull Shoals' neighbor, and
right.
had a blast. And I can imagine that Bull Shoals isn't all that different.
No, it's awesome. It's even better. And if you fish it in the springtime, there's 1,000 miles of buckbrush to flip. There's all kinds of different, cover to get into. So it'd be a lot of fun. But
I like that.
Yeah. I heard the nightlife at Broken Bow is really nice. That was the report from Dylan and Sanderson. So if that one happens again, I'll probably make that drive.
Yeah,
I think there's more dispensaries per capita than any place in the United States.
It wasn't the dispensary. There was something about some two-stepping and a casino or something is what I got report on.
Yep.
Hey, look at there. We got a special guest in the comment.
Look at this. This is a setup, Jeff.
This is a setup.
Yeah,
Justin Malone.
I think? Hang hang on, I didn't mention this. You know what I think would be pretty cool? So we've all fished lacrosse. We've all fished pools 7, 8, and 9. I think it would be so cool if we got to fish some of the other pools on the Mississippi River. I've heard a lot of amazing things about 10 and 11, and I've heard a lot of amazing things about 5 and 6. So I think it would be so cool but I don't know that that'll ever happen. I know lacrosse takes a lot of pride in their fishing, and they always want to, and they love having us, and I love them for having us. But I think it would be cool to get to fish some of the other pools in that area. I've heard a lot of amazing things about them.
Somebody else said that. Who else said that, Ryan? Was somebody we had on after lacrosse that mentioned that? Or maybe it was just some side conversation about fishing some different pools up there.
I don't recall.
Yeah, that would be cool for sure. There was a bunch of – somebody said Toledo Bend. Christine mentioned Mille Lacs. Dale Hollow was mentioned. That'd be a good one. So, yeah, I'll be curious to see what shakes out with that.
Dale Hollow is a timing thing. Dale Hollow has good largemouth and obviously world record smallmouth potential. But we fished it in the wintertime, and I'm not going to lie, that was rough. That was like getting beat with a cane pole. It was tough to endure for young Jackson's birthday. But I think Dale Hollow does have potential to show out. Mille Lacs, again, that's a long way out for everybody, but all the reports and pictures I've seen would be a great time. I mean, that's some big old brown fish up there.
Yeah. The cool thing is, between all the trails, hopefully Bass goes to 2-day next year. I don't know what KBF's going to look like next year. Hobie, the All-American Series, they branched out. So you can find a big tournament on, just about any of your favorite bodies of water. So we're going to have a lot of choices next year. I can't wait to see all the schedules as they come out here soon. Ryan Van Tyne said he's going to be a little cordial because my son was in the group chat. My son's a grown adult in the military. There's nothing you can do or say that he has not heard. So
don't test him, Van Tyne. Please do not take that as a challenge. Continue on. Continue on being cordial.
Yeah, and actually, he said he may fish some of these tournaments with me next year.
Okay. Don't call it a comeback.
Get out on the road. Yeah, put it on my head a little bit because he can catch him out of the mud puddle, so he'd have a good time.
Well, tell him to come find us. Christine knows how to make a beer pong table out of a closet door, so that's
okay.
good.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, Ryan.
A little trivia.
I am old, so thanks, Ryan. Ryan Lambert makes mention of that at every possible chance.
Usually, when we're listening to live music and you can't hear it or see it.
Yeah, I can't hear, and I'm yawning at 8:30. Lambert's giving me hell.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, we're getting up against it, but there's some announcement we wanted to make before we get out of here. G, you're welcome to stick around to hear these. I hope you do before we let you go.
I have a surprise announcement that I'm going to make before we get out of here. It's my dad's birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Steve Lambert. Good job, buddy.
Happy birthday, man.
Good job. Yep. Hanging in there. The second announcement is, so we alluded to the fact that we're bringing on some sponsors for the podcast. They're going to be, supporting us, promoting us, giving us product to give away to you guys. The first one is the Dugout Bait and Tackle, Jamie Koza. They're going to be coming on as our title sponsor, effective October 1. So you'll be seeing kind of the layout here at KBN change up some. And the second, and Jeff, if you want to comment on this, we encountered an opportunity a few months ago with a sunglass company, and there are a million sunglass companies. A lot of them are suspect at best. So we're like, all right, let's test this out. Let's make sure we're good here before we put our name on it, because people kind of expect us not to feed them a bunch of crap. So it's Revo Sunglasses is the brand. So they sent us some glasses, glass lenses, super high quality product, lightweight, comfortable. We tested them out. I tested them out, and I called Jeff, and I was like, dude, this is a pair I got. What'd you get? What do you think on it? Unanimous decision. Super happy to have them on as partners. They have been in the outdoor space for a long time, in skiing and hiking, that kind of thing, and never really crossed over into fishing. So we're going to try to bring them into the fishing industry.
Yes, sir. So we're proud to welcome, and I can attest to that. Ryan and I, like you said, have had our hands on these for a while. Ultralight glasses, very comfortable. Lenses are great in the bright sun, and able to see right down in the water like we want to with that glare, and they're comfortable all day long. We put them on some people, and they couldn't believe how light they were even with the glass lenses. So 2 big sponsor announcements for KBN. So we're glad to welcome them. We'll be starting that in October. And with maybe a few more announcements coming down the pipe here soon. All right.
I'm trying, man. I'm out here working.
So there
I'm
you go.
casting, man. It's a numbers game. I'm casting. I'm flipping as much as I can. Somebody's gonna buy it in a minute.
Yeah, man. And we've got some codes we can share with y'all as when we get this all finished up for Revo. We'll be doing some giveaways with some Revo stuff, maybe a little throw and shade Mondays, and then some stuff with Dugout.
Yeah, boy.
It's going to be a good time. We're going to try to give back to y'all because you guys have supported us so much over these last couple of years growing this page and doing this podcast. We've had a lot of fun with it. So, my son is talking trash to you in the comments a little bit, Ryan.
He don't want the smoke, Jeff.
Tell
him, right. Hey, see me on the cornhole boards, pool table, basketball court. I don't care. Hey, come fish with us. It don't matter.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Yeah. Kid's a monster. You don't want to play him in basketball. But
the
other stuff,
shit,
you might get him.
No, don't care. I heard a trash talk from his daddy. Then he faked some kind of inner ear stuff. I don't know.
Hey, we had a hoop in the driveway. We had a hoop in the driveway. Nobody wanted to roll it. Nobody said anything to me.
I'm pretty sure you're the one that pushed it over onto Shane's Outback. You're like, they're going to ask me to play ball in a minute. Just push the basketball go over.
No. All right, damn it. We'll do this. I'll bring him on the road match.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome stuff. Yeah, thanks, Tarek, for congrats on that. It's going to be a good time with those companies. Anything else for Guillermo before we get out of here? Anybody from the crowd or you, Ryan? You want to ask G before we let him get some rest from driving?
I think we covered it. Great job as always. This is another notch in the belt for you. I can't wait to see you at the TOC, man. We're going to have a good time.
I'm looking forward to that. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
you're the man. Happy belated birthday, and congrats once again, buddy. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Yeah, and thanks everybody for watching tonight. Let's wrap this thing up. What do you say, Ryan? See everybody next Monday?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Thank y'all. See y'all next week.